As you know, with the click of a button, we get to broadcast to you no matter where you are within the globe. But one thing that I can tell you right here at MediaTech Africa is that everywhere you go, whether you're walking on the top level, the bottom level, one thing that you're going to see and things that will grab your attention is the screens. But you must know that behind those screens, there's some really incredible technology. So all things tech, all about tech rather, which is where Jacques is from. And Pixelate is actually the brand that's behind everything that is being distributed by them. And we're here to find out the most and everything about it. Jacques, first of all, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I think I want to get into, let's start with this. If I were to give you an LED with unlimited creativity, what are you creating?
Well, that's the cool thing about LED screens. I mean, it's like a digital canvas.
Yeah.
So, art comes in every single form.
Yes.
And, screens over the last 10 years have progressed into curved, into, there's so many different forms of screens. And because it's modular, you can literally design as far as your imagination can go. You can have a screen that would, work in that implementation of what your imagination can.
What would you create?
Oh, that is the most difficult question to ask me, because
unlimited creativity.
I would probably say I would want to create something that impacts people. So I mean, we do a lot of roadside billboards, and a lot of them are very generic in the terms that they all just play simple ads, and they're not really interactive. Okay. So I would want to put something out there that's massive and that's got a real impact in people's lives, to help people. And actually, we've got a client soon. There's going to be, I can't give too much information on that yet.
Oh, no, come on, you can tell us. We're family now.
Okay, so there's a big roadside billboard coming, and this company, it's going to be on the N1, and this company is really out there to change people. I mean, the space that they're using, they want to do farming and, impact the community. So it's not just about putting up screens, it's about impacting lives, A lot of the companies out there, they put up a screen, just to generate revenue, but there's really people out there that use screens, to impact people's lives, And again, I mean, it's not just outdoor, if you look at museums and, venues like that, it also has a massive impact in it makes you feel part, of whatever you're looking at. It's not just a static print. It's, it can be interactive.
Yeah.
But then also, again, a screen is just a screen. So where the interactivity and where the, it all comes down to the content, that people put on there. So, I mean, as I say, I'm more the technical guy, the companies we sell to and that we install for, that's where the creativity comes in. Yeah. But literally, however your mind can think, about a display, that's what's capable in today's times.
You talk about screens and the evolution of screens. So we started with the big box televisions, and now to the point where this is even thick. You get like screens that are thinner than this.
Correct.
Let's talk about then how then pixels or LEDs then have changed over the years.
Okay, so if we talk about a pixel, obviously even your screen there on your iPad, they'll talk about a resolution, so many pixels by so many pixels. That's physical little dots inside that display. So with the LED screen, your dots are actually physical dots that you can look at and count. And we refer to as pitch. So the smaller the pitch, the closer those LEDs are together. Okay. And then, the higher the resolution. So
that will be your 4K, 6K.
Well, it's not really. So 4K, 6K is what we call your standard displays.
Okay.
So LED screen doesn't conform to that exactly, because the bigger you build the screen, the more pixels you'll have.
Yes. And
the closer or the further the pixels are apart, that determines kind of the resolution of your screen. So yes, you can have a 4K, LED display for sure, but not all screens are necessarily exactly 4K. So because they are modular and because you can build them in different sizes, that determines kind of your resolution, if we can call it as such. So, and then back in the day, I mean, 10 years ago, you would look at something like a P16, which means the pixels were like 16 millimeters apart. In today's world, in indoor screens, we go down to 0.3 millimeters, which is like, you can almost not see the gap between the pixels. That's how small it's gotten. It's like really insane.
I like that you mentioned outdoor.
Yes.
Now let's go indoor.
Yes.
Tell me about the different types of pixels that are required for an outdoor or indoor.
Okay. So outdoor, if you look at, let's say, for instance, a roadside display, the standard will be P10, which means the pixels are 10 millimeters apart. So if I had to show you a screen right here and you would switch it on, it would look terrible because you'll be looking at dots from close by. But because you're driving on the freeway, you 100 meters away from that display, so you don't actually see the dots. So to go smaller than a P10 display for outdoor roadside would be a waste of money because it's going to be more expensive. And also, the more dots you have, the more power it consumes. And one of the big expenses for a media owner for an outside billboard is power consumption.
By the way, we are in South Africa.
Yes.
We used to have load shedding.
Correct. Yes. So again, there's mitigations for that as well. A lot of the guys are running battery backup and solar. That's a whole nother ball game. But again, so like I say, when it comes down to buying a screen, it's not just, there's a lot of guys that just want to move panels, but you got to really sit with the client and say, listen, what do you expect to get out of this? What is your target audience? What do you want to display? Another example, for instance, we've got we work with churches and venues where they want to do wide screen displays. That's all good and well, but then again, your content must be created to work on that display. Every single piece of content, you need to create. You can't take a standard video that you play on your screen. If you stretch that on a wide screen, it's going to look terrible. Yeah. So again, it all comes down to, the content itself. So big part of what's involved with.
Where are your screens mostly popular? Events, retail, where?
So we actually started when we came into the digital signage business. We are specialists in the out-of-home industry. So our biggest clients are media owners, mostly for large format screens. So the screens that you would see next to the freeway, that's what we specialize in. We do everything from from the power distribution for that. We install the panels, we manage the back end for them so that they can focus on selling advertising, and we do all of the rest. But in that sense, we've also grown quite a bit into the indoor market. We do a lot of retail screens. It's becoming very big, the retail market. Every single shop that you go into, you see screens inside all the shops. Once again, it's easy to just sell a screen, but you need to be able to train the people on, how to switch it on. We see this all the time where, other companies install screens within a shop, but they don't even know how to switch it on, or, it's I know it sounds stupid, but, that's the kind of challenges that one has to face. So for us, it's, we love what we do and we've got a passion for that. And, we really want to make sure that the screen works for our specific client. So again, the out-of-home market, digital out-of-home, that's a massive industry. And then actually at MediaTech now, we've launched our rental series of panels, which is more, for the productions companies. So that's the type of panel you'll see when you go to a show, outdoor concert, those type of panels. Again, there's all different. A screen is not just a screen. It's not just a screen. There's 10 million different configurations, and we've got to make sure that what we sell works for our client to get the most out of, the specific product.
What's currently trending when it comes to digital signage?
So with digital signage, I would say curved displays or corner displays, and also immersive displays. A lot of people come to us and they ask us, can your displays do 3D? So again, a display is just a canvas. The 3D is nothing to do with the actual screen. It's the content. So, if you that's like saying you've got a Rolls Royce, but you put a small bicycle engine inside there. So content is what matters when it comes to LED displays, and we want to make sure when we sell a screen that, the client understands that and they understand how to make that screen work for them, whether it be an indoor screen, a rental screen, or a roadside billboard.
When it comes to the screens, I think just from the general public, is it more, are they being rented more, or do we find people actually wanting to own more screens? What's more popular in the African market? So in the African market,
there's two segments to this. Okay. So obviously, like I say, rental displays would be your typical productions company that would buy a screen, they would go out to do shows. So, we see a lot of those kind of smaller companies pop up. And it used to be, especially in the rental industry, people would just have some sound, some lighting, but now screens are becoming an integral part 70% of the actual budget. So the screen industry has become a lot larger than the sound and the lighting industry. So you get a lot of industry players now that also only own screen. They don't really even do lighting and audio anymore. So it's really a progressive market. And then with regards to roadside screens, also there's a lot of smaller guys that own static billboards. That we help a lot of smaller guys that that are in the industry. They've got static billboards, they want to get onto the digital side of things, but they're not sure how to do it. We guide them from the step. We've got people to assist with all the applications for the municipalities, all of that, because there's bylaws and you need to make sure you've got an approved application to put up a screen. A lot of people don't know that. We can assist them with that. We've got guys that do structures for us. Like I say, we do the power reticulation. We import the screens. We keep local stock. We do all the service and maintenance. And on the big outdoor billboards, we also sign SLA. So we actually manage that screen. We make sure it's running 24/7 so that our clients can, focus on selling, advertising, and doing what they do well.
Yeah. I know you said, I want to take you back to what you said earlier. You said after installing screens, sometimes you need to teach people at retail how to use the screens. How easy or how complex is it for clients to use the screens in real time? How easy is it to switch up the content?
Yes. So with that, there's a lot of content management platforms out there.
Okay.
So we are a reseller for Broadsign. They are one of the biggest content management systems within the digital out-of-home space. They're actually not only just in the digital out-of-home space, they actually even do a platform for people selling static billboards. So they've got the whole ecosystem. Then we've also got other smaller platforms where people don't necessarily want to pay a monthly fee. Yeah. There's even free platforms. If you just have a little shop, let's say for instance you've got a shoe shop, you don't want to spend R1,000 a month on a platform to upload content. We've got some free platforms that we could, that we install there. As long as you've got an internet connection, you could change content from wherever in the world. You can schedule content. Our bigger platforms, like Broadsign, they support programmatic content, for all the big out-of-home guys. You could do interactive content. You can even schedule content based on the weather. So let's say, for instance, McDonald's, runs an ad. So if it's a cold day, you can have a coffee advert pop up, and when it's a hot day, you can advertise, a cocktail or whatever, So you could do content. If you've got a moving display, you could do geotagging, where you've got content playing. If you're in Soweto, you can say, hi, Soweto. If you come into Midrand, you could say, hi, Midrand. So you can have that content change according to a GPS location. So the possibilities are endless.
I know you've worked on so many projects, so many installations. You've interacted with so many people. Take us through the most interesting and the coolest project that you were a part of, and where is it? Okay,
so cool projects. That's a tough one. I say that because every project for us is,
your favorite, your personal favorite.
Okay, so one of my personal favorites is we've got a billboard on the N1 in Rivonia. It's for one of our clients called Ginger Outdoor.
Okay. It's
located in Avignon Complex. The reason I like this install is particularly because they went and changed the narrative. All of the guys do like standard, wide format displays, or, there's standard billboards within the industry. And this specific billboard is a portrait design, and they said they want to do something different, and it's really paid off. It's working for them. It's like in your face when you drive on the N1, the billboard sits right there in your face, it's close up. And then I would say the coolest project that we're working on now is this big billboard next to the freeway. It's gonna change the narrative. There's something totally unique about this billboard. Obviously, I can't give you guys too much info.
We are family.
Well, let's just say it's going to
And
be.
this is an exclusive.
It's going to be totally different than anything that's out there. You know, everyone does the standard boring billboard that all looks the same. This is going to be something totally different. It's going to have a unique
a
pitch to
360?
it. No, it's not 360, but it's going to be unique.
Okay.
So look out for that one. It's going to be really cool. You guys can follow our socials, you know, all about tech. We'll post information on that. We literally, it's probably about 2 months away. They're just finalizing the structural requirements. We've already got the screen in South Africa. It's already here. So
you've already seen what it looks like?
Well, no, we haven't built it, but we've done the renders, everything. But the screen is here already, so it just needs to be built. And just a fun fact: people think, you know, if you drive next to a screen on the freeway,
Yes.
you'd think it's one big screen like a TV screen. It isn't actually. It comes in little blocks, like puzzles that get stuck together. So it gets stuck.
And you can remove one. I think
Yes.
that's where I wanted to go next, in a sense of if there is a problem with the screen,
Correct.
digital signage that you guys have, do you have to remove now the whole thing?
No.
Or do you just take out
No,
that
so
piece?
it's modular. Even on the cabinets, you've got a little module, so you can take a module out, you know, replace a module, and then those modules can be repaired, you know, up to like pixel level. So, like I say, you know, the industry has grown a lot in the last 10 years, and the technology gap has shrunk a lot. And I mean, there's a lot of cool product out there. I mean, even my competitors do really cool things. You know, I just think, and I'm not being biased, I really think, especially on the out-of-home screens, you know, we've got a product that's really cool in terms of like contrast ratio. Also, like I say, with power, you know, the newest, latest trend is energy-saving screens. I mean, our big screens next to the freeway draw under 200 watts a square meter. That's insane. That's like unheard of. And I mean, we do up to 10,000 nits. I mean, you can have the sun, obviously in South Africa, you know, we've got the African sun that shines down, you know, we've got bright sunlight most of the
Are you
days.
using solar panels as well?
We do, so we actually do solar integration. The problem is with most of the roadside sites, a lot of the media owners don't own them. So then it's difficult because you need quite a lot of real estate. But for, you know, some of the clients that do own the property, we do solar and offset that with solar. We also do smaller solar systems, even if it's just on top of the billboard, to offset a little bit of the electricity usage, because also going green is a big thing. You know, we try and do, you know, a lot of our clients do want to become carbon neutral, which is a challenge, but we are working on that as well.
What is the biggest challenge you'd say that you guys face?
I'd say the biggest challenge we face, especially with outdoor billboards, would be delays, especially when it comes to like regulations. You know, a lot of my clients get approvals done, and with this being you know, Africa, you know, you get a certain someone that would want a little bit of a backhand, or you know, or some, you know, some influence somewhere. You know, obviously there's a lot of big media owners that do have a lot of influence, so you know, they'll throw hurdles, you know, so we can plan as much as we want in terms of, you know, commissioning and stuff, and then a project might get delayed. But we've been in the industry, we know the challenges, we work very closely with our clients, and, you know, also to mitigate that, and, you know, to assist from our side where we can.
Jacques, why is LED, in your personal understanding, why is LED gaining so much momentum? Why is it the future?
I think because of the creativity and what we can do. You know, like I say, back in the day, you know, art form, like I say, it was static. You know, an art form is there, you know, it's printed. With digital, you can change it on the fly. You know, a client could come up with a new creative. Let's say, you know, something happens politically, you know. You know, the media owners are, you know, the content designers are creative, and you know, they can come up with a new concept that within a few minutes that can be live on a screen. You know, so there's no need anymore for, you know, for it to take time to print something and to flight it, you know. And obviously again with that, you know, with regards to advertising companies, static prints are expensive. You know, it takes time, and it takes money to print a static billboard, to flight it. You know, all of that is manual labor. With the screen, there's nothing of that. It's someone sitting behind a computer, taking a piece of artwork, uploading it. You know, so as simple as that.
I was actually about to ask about then graphic designers, artists,
Yes.
because obviously static advertising is the way in which they would probably make money.
Yes.
Then how do they evolve, or how do they acquire themselves new skills to still do what they love, but align with where advertising is heading?
So I think that's a very cool, you know, question, and a lot of the, you know, the biggest thing in the industry is omni-channel. I mean, you work in media yourself, you know, TV, radio.
Yeah.
So again, you know, digital signage on advertising is just one small part of it. You know, a good campaign is not just out on a digital screen. You know, it's got to do with radio. It's got to be on TV. And I mean, the big companies that understand that and that understands the omni-channel, you know, they do really well because, you know, a big client, you know, they want to know where their budget is going when it comes to you know, to advertising. And yeah, I'm not even a media owner, but, you know, kind of, I know how it works and, you know, I understand that part of the market. And again, what sets us apart, you know, we try and go to conferences where, you know, they talk about media. We try and look at trends. You know, we don't just want to be another distributor that just sells a product. We want to know the trends and we want to understand it. But coming back to your question, I think it's really important for people to understand the omni-channel and, you know, a good like advert will be on all of that, you know, and a good concept would involve all of that altogether.
Yeah. When talking about now how life is moving, we're all on social media.
Yes.
We people say that we don't watch television, but we're just watching television differently.
Yes.
Right? How then has the industry of advertising in itself changed so much?
Yes.
Because
Very
everyone
good
then
question.
becomes an advertiser.
So I think this started, well, a little bit before COVID, but it took off during COVID.
Yeah.
So there's a thing called programmatic advertising. So if you wanted to buy space, let's say, for instance, let's take Coca-Cola as a brand. Let's say Coca-Cola wants to buy advertising on out-of-home screens, okay? They don't necessarily know every single media owner in the industry.
Yes.
They can jump on a programmatic platform and they can see, oh, we like this screen that's in Sandton. We like this screen that's next to the N1. Then they could buy space on those screens programmatically, which would be through, a DSP and a SSP, to actually just have that working the same as how you would buy Google ads or Facebook ads. It works the exact same way. There's no human interaction. It's all, they could see what space is available on which screen, and they could purchase that through a platform. So I think that's kind of changed that, you know, a lot within the last few years.
And as someone then who buys a space on a digital screen, then how do I measure the success? Because I know you stack it up.
Very good question. So there's also a lot of companies independently that, you know, audit that. There is auditors in the industry. There's also companies that use measurement tools. We've actually got our own platform for that as well. It's a computer vision platform. So for every single billboard we install for advertising company, we give that as value add. It's a camera that actually measures vehicles. So next to the freeway, it counts vehicles. And for indoor screen, it actually it counts people. But we can go as far as doing gender. So we can see...
So you're counting people and cars that are moving?
Correct.
Okay, so whether I'm inside the car and I looked at it or not, but my car...
So we would count vehicles outdoors. So yes, we count vehicles and we can group the vehicles like in cars, trucks, buses, to give media owners an understanding of how many people, you know, is actually driving past their screen. There's also a multiplier in the industry. It's about 2.7. So in Europe, it's 2.7 people per vehicle. In South Africa, we take it a little bit more like 3.2, 3.3,
yes.
You know, because obviously, you know, we've got taxis and stuff that carry a lot of passengers. So we use that as a measurement tool, and it's real time. We've got a platform that people can log in, you know, our clients can log in, they can actually see in real time how many people are passing their screens. And with indoor screens, like I say, we can look at gender, so male, female. Then we can also measure age. So we can, group people within specific age groups. It's all on premise, so the camera just analyzes the footage real time, doesn't get recorded. So there's no issues with POPI or GDP. You know, it's all anonymous. It's just to, you know, give people an idea of the audience. We can also then go as far as triggering ads based on, so let's say for instance, you know, you've got a shop that sells Dior fragrance. If there's a female or females walking past, you can play the Dior female advert. And if there's males walking past,
so it's becoming more interactive.
Correct.
Do you think it would be more, are we moving to a point where it's interactive in a sense where we're physically interacting with screens?
100%. So we've also got a few products that actually do that. So, and
I've never seen those.
Yeah, and it actually with LiDAR and with 3D cameras, we can go as far as making any screen, any big digital screen can become a touch screen. You get floor screens that you can walk on, that you can interact with. So we've got some partners in the industry that actually specialize in that. So like I say, we specialize more in the displays, but again, we can make all those technologies available as a one-stop shop, because clients have their idea, but they don't know how to execute it. We can assist them with that.
Yeah. Why is it important for All About Tech to be here today?
For us, I think this is the biggest, exhibition within, the space. Yeah. So we were really excited to be here. And I mean, the last one I know was before COVID. So also, I think everyone's anticipation was so big this year, and it's been really busy. We've got a lot of good leads from our stand, and I think it's really well organized. And if you haven't been here, please pop around, come see what we have to offer, and I hope you guys can come and have a look at our products on our booth as well.
When taking a look at Africa, or let's say South Africa and the rest of the world,
yes,
how far apart are we from how we do digital signage and what is out there? Because we do know that we are still a developing country.
Yes. So in terms of tech, we've got the exact same tech as what you would get in Europe. On the programmatic side, that's still something that's, gaining momentum in the country. There is a lot of big media owners that's already doing that. But literally the same tech you would find in Europe is available in South Africa. We import that. We also try and, we always visit exhibitions overseas. We try and stay ahead of, looking at the latest trends, like film displays. We've got a really cool company in China now that does film displays, that you can put on a clear window. You can still see through it, film displays. Stuff like that is really cool. I think the only thing that's keeping us a little bit behind is budgets. Obviously we don't have the same budgets that you would get in Europe and in a first world country. So I think it takes a little bit longer to evolve here. But in terms of tech, what you get in Europe and what you would get in Dubai, all of that tech is available locally as well.
Private companies or public sector, who is engaging more with digital signage?
Definitely private companies. Okay. So I think in government and stuff like that, it takes a little bit longer, and there's a little bit more
the traditional way.
Yes, and I think red tape, it takes a little bit longer to evolve, but private companies, definitely that's where the biggest part of our market is.
I've got some quick fire questions for you.
Perfect,
right?
No problem.
Okay. One word to describe Pixie-led.
One word to describe Pixie-led, yes. I would say that's a very difficult question. I would say pixel perfect. I know it's two words.
Pixel perfect.
But yes, pixel perfect.
PP.
Yes.
Okay. Big screen or small screen?
I would say big screen, because the bigger you go, the more immersive it is. Small screens also obviously has its place. I mean, if you look at a shop, and you're building a set, you might want to use small displays. So everything has its purpose, but a big display just gives you that wow factor. It feels like it swallows you. So there's just something about a massive screen that's amazing.
Indoor, outdoor?
I love outdoor. We face a lot more challenges. Indoor screens are very easy to install. Outdoor screens have a lot of challenges, when it comes to execution and all of that. And we love a good challenge, so I'd say outdoor for me.
The future of LED in one word.
Future of LED in one word, I would say interactivity. That's where it's going, immersive interactivity.
Do we have young people? This is not part of the 5 questions, but do we have young people interested in the work that you do, or just in the industry?
Yes, definitely. We get a lot of inquiries, people just coming out of, out of school, out of college, that wants to get into the industry. And I mean, we also try and employ local people, as much as we can. Obviously, health and safety becomes a bit of an issue sometimes on bigger sites, but we do, we try and incorporate the local community wherever we work, to assist with whatever they can, to also try and empower people. I mean, we all live in South Africa and we want to make this a better country. Like I say, a lot of my clients are doing really cool things, with regards to doing that. Not just, it's not just for their own gain, it's actually to help South Africa grow and expand.
Obviously, South Africa is trying to, as you know, we're trying to go green, trying to utilize more transportation.
Yes.
With that increase and that rise, I know we call OR Tambo, which is our airport, one of the greatest airports, by the way. What is how much are you guys integrating into those spaces?
So we've had some inquiries into that. I think it's still a fairly new space in South Africa, but there is clients. For instance, there's clients looking at doing displays in minibus taxis and inside buses. We've got displays
the train, the Gau train.
100%. Those are all really cool forms of advertising, and I really think the indoor market still needs to grow quite a bit. Especially the retail sector. I know you see quite a lot of screens. If you look at let's say like for instance a shoe shop, they might have their own brands on their own screens. But when it comes to advertising, I still think the indoor market really has a lot of space to grow, and we're really looking into that as well to bring new products to our clients to empower them to be able to grow into that space more.
It's one thing that just hit my mind now. If we move into transportation,
Yes.
then you said outside electricity, we also have solar that also generates the power. Indoor, then I'm assuming we're plugging into something.
Correct.
Transportation, where are we getting that power from?
So, I mean, if you look at a vehicle, it's the same as what you would have the guys that install sound systems inside their vehicle. It's the same. It works from the vehicle's power. So we've got displays that can actually work from the vehicle's power itself. So there's no need for any external.
Think we'll go any batteries soon? Oh no, we've passed that time.
No, look, I mean, no. So, I mean, that's really cool as well with, solar taking off so much, and with our country, with, struggling with load shedding, the battery technology as well has improved so much over the last few years, and that also helps us, because we could pack a lot more energy density into a battery, to be able to drive bigger displays from mobile vehicles.
Yeah. And Jacques, I know you guys' stand has really cool things, which I'm going to go down there in a bit. But let's talk about what is it that you guys have on display today. What is that one thing or that one product that's really getting people's attention?
So, like I say, we do everything from the smallest, finest pictures in indoor displays right out to your big digital out-of-home displays. When it comes to indoor displays, pretty much everyone has the same products. They're all available. What really stands out for me, we've got a really cool product for the out-of-home industry. We've done our research because that is our biggest, that's our biggest market. To give you an idea, at the moment, we sell over 1,200 square meters of outdoor roadside display per year, and it's growing exponentially. So our product is really, and I'm not biased saying this, I've tried everything. We've worked with a few brands. I've been to China. We've really found we've got a product that's got a niche. It's probably got one of the best contrast ratios. It's got a mask. The mask is a little plastic thing that sits in the front of the screen, and it's a piece of plastic. It sounds stupid. That makes a difference on how that display looks in terms of your contrast ratio, etc. These guys, our supply in China has the best mask in the industry. They've also got a smaller pixel. It's a SMD2727, where everyone else uses a 3535. Back in the day, it wasn't possible to get that pixel bright enough, but now the technology is there to get that pixel bright enough. So by using a smaller pixel, we actually can have a much higher contrast ratio on that display. And in terms of energy consumption, one of the best in the industry.
Yeah. I want to ask, just for a youngster who's watching this and they're wondering, your job is really cool. What do I need to study? What do I really need to focus on if I'm choosing courses or if I want to do further education?
So honestly, there's not really anything you could study, especially in South Africa. So I mean, I come from the live events industry. We saw a gap in the market for digital signage, and that's what we specialize in now. But I think as a youngster, get involved in a productions company or in a broadcast studio. Start somewhere, start learning in tech, in the media, film industry. And I mean, that's how you're going to grow within this industry, for sure.
One thing that you don't know at home is the fact that me and Jacques, when we sat down here, we're just like, 20 minutes is long.
Yes.
We actually spoke for 20 minutes.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching, and it was really good having a chat with you today.
Well, there you have it, Jacques, all about tech. It's all happening right here at MediaTech Africa 2026. We're here in Kyalami in South Africa. If you're not here, worry not. TVU Networks has you covered. More conversations are still to follow.